Okay, so I was contemplating whether to do this follow up video or not. But I mean, considering that I talked so much about the story in the other video, and yet didn't talk about it at all. I mean, I basically filled out over half an hour of just me talking about what I didn't want to talk about. Like, oh my god, the story is so amazing, and I know that I can't talk about it, but it's so amazing. Um, kind of seemed a bit silly. So you know what? Screw it. Um, this video is gonna be full on spoiler because to repeat myself from the previous video, this movie, even after I have slept on it, is so goddamn amazing with all of its like I said, with all of its little details and stuff like that. So while the movie is still more or less fresh in my head, um, let's let's dive in. So I talked about how in very broad strokes how the movie is about Puss in Boots who thinks the world of himself, and of course his followers do as well. It's not like he is, oh my god, I'm the best, and people are like, yeah, you keep telling yourself that. He has a lot of fans, and they celebrate him, and it's not like he is all bark and no bite, because during the setup, he is celebrated, like I said, and then because of a ruckus, they out of nowhere they awaken this sleeping giant, not not so far away, who proceeds to attack, and um, goes up to this mansion, like, and rips off the roof, and everyone of course flees, and you sit there like, and Puss in Boots also looks up at the thing like, okay, and I was sitting there like, okay, no way in hell he can beat that thing, but stranger things have happened, and this is a fantasy movie after all. So this tiny ass cat confronts the giant head on, not even shitting his pants once. Does a lot of acrobatic stuff, and with the help of some of his followers, like at some point, because the giant not only chases them and attacks, but it also kidnaps a lot of people, and puts them in his pouch, which is a wooden a hollow tree. And I love this, again, how the movie is a great blend of humor and taking itself serious, where the giant kidnaps this kid, and Puss in Boots is like, don't worry, I'll save you, and then right after, it kidnaps some nobody, and Puss in Boots follows up with, if convenient. And I was absolutely losing my shit at that one, like, genius, genius humor. You may be sitting there like, wow, that's all it takes to make this guy laugh. Yes, it is. But and then he uses his ingenuity. Um, this mariachi band who performed under his celebration. Um, he they make a bow out of their instruments, and Puss uses it to fire himself away at the giant, and stab, and the giant smacks him away, so he goes through the air and through three different buildings, like, and ends up in this guy's house where a guy drinking coffee. Puss stretches his arm up, like, takes the coffee and gracias. Okay, and then when he gets the coffee, kind of like Alvin and the chipmunks, he gets hyperactive, so he zooms back into action, stabs the giant, the giant's nail, and people are like, ooh, and then the giant takes a giant bell, and tries to use that to take down Puss, and I'm like, there, okay, we have a little cat fighting a giant who now uses a bell as a weapon, like, and this is only the first 10 minutes of the movie. um, but Puss then uses his his skill to trick the giant into gonking itself in the head, and he then lands safely on his feet in front of people, like, ta-da, and the giant falls down and slides across the ground, and of course it stops right behind Puss, like, not gonna touch me. And then just as he gets ready to sing his theme song, who is your favorite hero? Wasn't really a fan of the song, but I get the implications. Like, it's a song about him and how great he is. Wasn't a fan of the song, but whatever. That's a taste in music. I won't pull the movie for that one. But then, in a typical slapstick way, the bell falls on Puss, and end of the movie. Nah. He wakes up at the local doctor, who tells him that, Puss, you died, and he's like, what? No, I'm alive. I feel fine. And then he recounts all of his previous lives. Every time he died, essentially, because the doctor's like, how many times did you die, Puss? And he's like, well, let me see, there was that time and that time and that time, so I guess that puts us up to 8. And so the doctor has a serious talk with him, like, Puss, I think, for your own sake, I think it's best that you retire. And then gives him the address for a sweet cat lady in the countryside. And instead of going there, Puss goes to a bar instead to to drink away his sorrows in milk. And then we meet the absolute best character of the movie. I already alluded to him in my spoiler-free video, but as Puss sits there alone at the bar, like, the bartender has gone out back, and no one is sitting beside him. There's no one at all, and then this clever perspective of the camera, where the camera pans, and then all of a sudden you see this in contrast to Puss, this big figure, this big dark figure, this hooded figure sitting right next to him, this red-eyed gray wolf. And the moment we have just heard that Puss only has one life left, and the moment I say a hooded figure with a gray wolf with red eyes, come on, you can put two and two together. It's beeping death himself. Apparently that was a clever that was a sort of a plot twist to my brother, whom I also talked about. We went to see the movie together yesterday, and whereas I had I had I had put two and two together from the start, whereas he wasn't really sure. Also because Death, I'm just gonna refer to him as Death from now on, since I have let the cat out of the bag. Um, but he not that he lies to Puss, but he makes Puss believe that he is just a bounty hunter. Like he um, he says that he has been looking for Puss, and then shows him this wanted dead or alive poster where he says sign there, and then he taps on the word dead in dead or alive specifically. Again, another hint where I caught on immediately, like, yep, you're death, you're coming for Puss, he has one life left, I get it. And Puss is then like, oh, you're another bounty hunter. Well, I'm not. You're not gonna get me. I'm gonna get you, or something like that. And then Death, not even raising his voice. He is calm the whole way through. He goes like, many have tried to catch me, and none have yet succeeded. Again, you are death. All the signs are there. Everything you says, I am death, I am death. And it's not even like, because you can kind of say that me and my brother, as a result, had two different experiences with this movie, because whereas he didn't really, put it together until about just about at the point where Puss himself puts it together. That made it a good plot twist to him, whereas to me, even because I had figured it out already, I was excited to see how Death himself was gonna stalk Puss through the movie. Also because he's not the only antagonist in the movie. I won't even call him a villain, because while he does chase Puss, everything he says, again, the script is fantastic. Like I said, the other day, everything he says alludes to to not the fact, but to the idea that he doesn't just want to kill Puss, because if he wanted to, he could have done so the first time they met, but he wants to scare the shit out of Puss, make him realize that this one life you have left, you should treasure it, because, like he says at the very end of the movie, actually at the point where Puss figures it out, he says, I was there for every single one of your lives, and you didn't treasure even one of them. Like, I love this guy. But I loved his character because I knew who he was, or I didn't know, but it was pretty obvious to me. Like, there could have been a plot twist where no, I'm not death. I'm just a bounty hunter, like I said I was. But I was pretty damn sure that he was. But where was I going? Oh, right. In the bar where they talk a bit, and then I don't remember if Puss challenges him or if he challenges Puss. I'm pretty sure it was Puss, because he then his sword, rapier, is it called a rapier? He then haha, prepare yourself, and he doesn't even get to finish that sentence before Death has without even you don't even see him move, but then he knocks the rapier out of Puss's paws, and straight across the room, and Puss is like, oh, but he's not going down yet. Like goes after the sword, and haha, I wasn't ready that time, or something like that. And then they have a little fight where Puss quickly realizes that he is totally outmatched, and every single of his sword swipes, Death is like, too sloppy, too slow. And I was sitting there again, having already figured out who he was. I was like, well, of course, no one can beat Death. That's obvious. And again, to jump ahead, Puss himself even realizes this later, where they, of course, they have this epic showdown, which I absolutely loved. They have this epic showdown at the end, when they, spoiler alert, when they find this wishing star that the whole movie revolves around, and where Puss's wish, of course, is to get all of his lives back, to so that he can restore his image, so that the legend can live on, not fearing that he only has one life left, like, I'm back, baby. um but in that fight, where after Puss has learned his lessons and all that, he actually whoops Death's ass this time. um he goes like, I know I can't defeat you, but I will never stop fighting for this last life of mine. Where Death then recognizes that he has changed, and is like, you know, I came here looking for a self-absorbed legend who thought he was immortal, but I don't see him anymore. Again, I love it when this movie, delivers these epic lines and takes itself serious. And you could say that it's cliche to hell and back, and oh, we have heard stuff like that a million times. Well, I liked it. And in the end, that's all that should really matter to me. But back to the fight at the bar. Rewinding 1.5 hour again. Um, excuse me. They fight, and because before the fight with the giant, Puss has another encounter where he, he kind of brags like, a sword has never touched me before, kind of alluding to the whole, he is a legend, he's immortal, he considers himself immortal, he has never been touched by a weapon. And so when Death whoops his ass, and because he doesn't have a scythe, but two sickles, when Death manages to, just by a hair, he manages to cut Puss, and you then see a single drop of blood running down his face, and you see the fear in his eyes, like, and then you recall that line with, I have never been hurt in battle before, and you see the fear in his eyes, like, is did did I just get hurt? Like, he doesn't say that, but you can see that in his eyes, and the way, we get a close up of his body where, um, the hairs on his fur rise, and you know the saying that when you get scared, your hair gets like needles. When his hair raises or rises, whatever, you actually hear the sound of needles. Genius detail. And then of course he loses all he loses all confidence in himself, and runs off. And Death, of course, Death, throughout the whole movie, whenever Death shows up, he has this signature whistle, like, that that really gets to you, and Puss especially, and really makes him a threat. um but Puss then he you know, it's all over, so he finally decides to take the doctor's advice and go to this cat lady where he buries his clothes, like, you know, the legend is dead. I am Puss in Boots, no more. And and we then get you know, this montage, or not at first, but we see him being let into this house, and and it's so humorous, like all of these other cats that he has to live with. And the lady, she's actually really nice. She has a screw loose, but she's really nice. um, but it's like she only has normal cats, you know. So when you see this line of cats lined up at the litter box, for example, and Puss looks at it and is like, so this is where dignity goes to die again. I was dead at that joke. But he, he then goes out to the bathroom instead, where you see the lady walk by the doorway, and Puss just stands there, with his back to the camera, up at the toilet seat, and she, you know, sprays him with water, like, bad kitty, bad. You need to learn to use the litter box. And again with food, they are all served this long tray of ordinary cat food, and Puss at the start is like, oh, disgusting. And then you see him out in the kitchen with a pan flipping pancakes, or whatever. And again the lady disapproves, sprays him with water, and you know, he pretty much has to commit to this new life as a cat. And then we get the montage where, you know, the days go by, his beard grows longer, and then one day he gets in talk with this with this dog, disguised as a cat, because this dog has been left alone. He's an orphan, so he disguises himself as a cat in order to gain access and, you know, get some food that way. And this dog, it's funny because normally I hate these, you know, the character who talks all the time and is being a pest, is being, you know, has no sense of personal space towards the main character, kind of like Donkey was to Shrek. I Not that I hate Donkey's character as a whole, but when he, you know, right when he and Shrek started, when they met each other, and Donkey was like, "Can I sing? No. Can I hum? Ah, fine. I'm all alone." And I was like, "Shut up!" But this dog, there's just something, and it's not because I'm particularly a dog person, that if I just see a dog on screen, I'm like, "Oh," but there's just something wholesome about this dog, and how he, you know, no matter how depressed Puss lets him know that he is, he still, nothing gets this guy down, nothing gets this dog down. And you sit there thinking, like, this is the push that Puss needs. um, but so these two meet each other. Not really friends at the beginning, of course. Puss has given up on everything, and besides that, he doesn't want friends at all. But then we cut away to Goldilocks and the three bears, where again, like I hinted at in the other video, you first get the sense that she's the only, you know, sentient being among them. Like, the bear are just, you know, mindless grizzly bears. But they are after Puss in Boots, because they believe that he can lead them to the map that leads to this wishing star. And so they find this cat lady house and starts launching the place, and of course they don't kill the lady when she won't talk, because I was about to say this is a kids movie. No one dies. That's not exactly true. Some people do later, albeit of course in humorous ways to not make it too dark. But they try pressing her for answers. And this is where you learn that the bears can in fact talk, and even though they call themselves a crime family, but they are still very wholesome within themselves. Like Goldilocks, it's not like she doesn't treat these bears like like animals at all. She calls the big one Papa and treats him like a father. She calls the mother Mama, and actually sometimes talks, has conversation with her like a mother would with her daughter. And the little one who they call Baby, who is who kind of has this this gangster attitude, which I absolutely absolutely loved. They kind of have this brother sister relationship where sure they can talk shit to each other every now and then, but then, oh, come here, give me a hug. Like, you really get a wholesome family out of this. I was about to say trio, this quadruplet. Um, but they they can't find Puss. He hides. Then they dig up his. They don't dig up his grave, but they find his grave. Where where he has buried his clothes, and Baby sniffs and is like, "Yep, I can smell him. That's and it's the clothes he can smell, but he doesn't know that. He thinks that it's actually a dead body down there. One would think that he could tell the difference between sweaty clothes and a dead kitten. But anyway, minor plot hole. Um, but they then talk over themselves about who are we gonna how are we gonna get the map now without Puss, the map to the wishing star. And Puss overhears this, like, the the magic star, so it is real. And then they talk about how they are going to get it from, because apparently Jack, I don't remember his full name, but Jack from that children's poem, who with the thumb, and he tastes pie and that stuff. I Sorry, I don't remember his full name, or even how the nursery rhyme goes. But this overweight Jack guy, apparently, because he has this pie factory and a big collection of all kinds of stuff that is magical. Like, he has a flying carpet, a rose, several unicorn horns, and stuff like that. And he, of course, is after the star as well. And later in the movie, we learn that it's because he wants infinite magic. He to take over the world. Where he's like, because there's this cricket, his conscience, who asks him, well, what was your childhood like? Why do you want the star? Oh, I didn't have much as a kid. I only had a loving father and mother. I was rich. I had this family business ready to take over, but all I really want is world dominance. Is that so much to ask for? And the cricket is like, I have my work cut out for me. um, but Jack is this, he again, like I also think I alluded to in the other video. He is despicable to the core, but in a way where you can't help but not love him. But like Hades in Hercules, he's a bad apple. He uses those as a weapon. Also, by the way, green apples that he throws as bombs. Um, but you enjoy seeing just how insanely bad he is, and of course you're looking forward to see how he gets his ass whooped at the end. I love I love the scene where he chases Puss and his friends. Spoiler alert: he of course Puss teams up with the dog, and later they meet that black female cat who I believe is from the first Puss in Boots movie, and then Jack he extracts Excalibur from his he has this magic bag that he when he goes out to I'm jumping way ahead. Sorry, because I just realized that if I'm gonna go down that path now, that requires me to have told you other things first. So okay, pause on that one. Pause. Haha. um, but so they are talking about how can we take the map from Jack, and then they leave, and Puss is left there like, so Jack has the map. Yeah, it's risky, but star wish I could get my lives back. I could get my life, and I could become a legend again. And so of course he decides to go after them. So and the dog, even though he says no, stay behind. The dog, of course, goes with him and is an absolute pal. Like, you got this, Puss. Um, and so they go to Jack's place, where Puss tries to steal the map, but is intercepted by this black cat, Soft Paws, I think she was called. Um, and then Goldilocks and the three bears suddenly bust in through the roof, and shenanigans ensues. Everyone is fighting over the map. Puss and Soft Paws they flee on this magic carpet. Jack stops them by throwing by throwing a what was it? Not a spear. A pitchfork. There it was. That's the word. But somehow they manage to escape anyway, and then it of course becomes this chase of the map, where Puss and his friends have the map throughout most of the movie. But Goldilocks and Jack and his band of cooks are always right behind them, and just as they flee Jack's factory, you see this crowd of people, and then death. Once again, we see death among them. Like, I got my eyes on you, where Puss is the only one as of now who can see him, and he's like, because he may play a tough game, but every time he sees even the shadow of death, he curls up into a ball, like. But so they follow the map to the dark forest, where it the forest changes depending on who holds the map, kind of like a video game, because you see these three icons at the bottom of the map, and every time one of them touches the map, their respective icon lights up, and then the map changes. So when because both Puss and Soft Paws, they my map, my map, my map, my map, but when Puss holds the map, all of the locations on the map become like Death Mountain, the Swamp of Sorrows, and all that kind of shit, and it's not really any better when Soft Paws holds it. But then of course when the dog holds it, everything becomes sunshine and rainbows and follow the yellow brick road, which again, and I thought about this during the movie, but now I think even more about it. Like, of course that's because both Puss and Softpaws really want the map. They really want the treasure, but kind of like, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, where only the one who wanted the stone but didn't wish to use it could have it. It's kind of the same thing here, where the dog is the only one who doesn't desire the map and doesn't even desire the wish, because like he says at one point, what could I possibly wish for? I have the greatest friends around me, and I didn't even have to wish for that. No wish required. I have everything I want right here. Um, so he they decide to let him lead with the map. Where at one point they get to this forest of giant flowers, where Puss and Softpaws, of course, their first instinct is to go on guard and cut the flowers down, and kind of like, exactly like the Hydra in Hercules. Every time they cut one down, double as many spawn, and they are like, I thought this was supposed to be the safe route, but then of course they see the dog just happily walk around, in between the flowers, and smell the flowers, and as soon as he does that, they retract, and he goes, sometimes you just have to stop and smell the roses. And they think it's cringe, but if it works, it works. So they start to do the same thing, and then when he then, because that's one thing he's really good at, if you didn't already catch on, that he's really good at wholesome pep talks, like, I don't need anything else in my life. I have everything I could possibly want. Friendship is magic, all that kind of stuff. And at first, both of them, Puss and Soft, they are, how, I'm gonna hurl. But then he tells them his background story of how, his family tried to get rid of him, and they put him in a sock with a rock and threw him out into sea. But haha, jokes on them. I just gnawed my way out of the sock, and now I have grown into wearing it. So hey, I got a free T-shirt out of it. And they kind of start to warm up to him, no pun intended. To what they go from the point where none of them wanted anything to do with each other. All three of them, not all three of them, but Puss only saw those two as a means to an end, and Soft only saw those two as a means to an end. But from this point on, they kind of start to become, like actual friends, like, sticking out for each other. um but you know Peace before the storm, of course. Again, Jack and Goldilocks are mere steps behind them. The flower forest is no match for Jack. He just pulls out this phoenix, and like a flamethrower, and starts burning it all down. Um, and Goldilocks, she doesn't have a problem with it, because or with the flowers, because at that point Jack has already burned it all to the ground. But she then catches up to Jack, and that's and now we are caught up to what I was talking about before, where she gets ahead of Jack. So you have Puss in Boots and the team, Goldilocks and the bears, Jack and his cooks. And because Jack gives no fucks about anyone, so he then pulls out Excalibur, which and that's the genius part. You're like, but Excalibur is this holy sword that only someone pure of heart could wield. And then, because the sword is stuck in his back, so when he finally pulls it out, you see that it's because the stone is still the sword is still inside the rock, and Jack, he's none the wiser. It sounds like he doesn't know about the legend, because he's like, oh, yeah, well, I couldn't get I couldn't get the sword off this rock, but I can still use it as a, and then he uses it as a hammer, and strikes Goldilocks and the bears right out of the road, where they fall down, down this hill, and you see Mama Bear, grab Goldilocks and shield her from the fall, which again is a great little detail, where we see that they are a family to each other, and they would do anything for each other. Um, at one point, I don't remember how they got a hold of it, because whenever all three teams are together, um, the map goes back and forth between all of them, but and at some point, or somehow rather, Goldilocks does get a hold of the map, and it leads them to a true copy of the cabin that the bears live in, and so completely mesmerized by this, they go in, and this chair is just right, and oh, the porridge smells so good, and Goldilocks says, no, what are you doing? This is just an illusion. We have to get after the map. And I was sitting there thinking, like, this forest obviously shows them their house and all the good things they left behind, to not so much teach the bears a lesson, but to teach Goldilocks this lesson, that everything she wanted, she already had back home. Um, also because she after she has kind of she kind of gives up trying to get through to the bears, but then she sees this book on the table that has her name in it, a library book, where she was the most recent borrower. Um, the library card also had an Easter egg with previous borrowers, Hansel and Gretel. But then she sees this flashback of herself, like when she was a little girl and stumbled upon this house for the first time, where she the class, how it goes. This bed is too hard. This bed is too soft, and this bed is just right. And you see this the illusion of this little girl who goes to rest on Baby Bear's bed, and then Mama Bear walks up to Goldilocks, the present Goldilocks, and she's like, "That, my dear, was the day a little human girl stole our hearts." Like, not stole our porridge or ruined our house or anything. That's the day a little girl stole our hearts. And I was like, because in the original fairy tale, you know how it goes. She breaks into their home. She accidentally breaks some of their furniture, and then when the bears find her in the bed, she they are not attacking her in the original fairy tale. They're more so confused, I gather, but she gets scared as all hell. But with the way they are presenting this wholesome family in this movie, I was absolutely fine with how, in this flashback, not flashback like I have said, but because it's kind of a hologram, a magic hologram that they can all see. I was absolutely fine with how they rewrote the tale, as in Goldilocks stayed with the bears, and they became her family. Um, but then, of course, Puss and Soft Paws and them. I believe before that, Oh, right. I forgot one thing. I'm going through a almost 2 hour movie scene by scene because I wanna discuss all of it. So forgive me if I remember some things out of order. But Puss in Boots, Puss in Boots, Puss in Boots and his friends of course go after the map. But before that, um, Puss has another. Not another run-in with death, but he hears the whistle again and gets this panic attack and runs off and sees kind of like Snow White when she ran through the forest and she saw evil eyes in the trees. Um, we have that with Puss here, where the dog chases after him, finds him under a tree where he lies with a panic attack, like, and where the dog then places his head on, just lies down, places his head on Puss's stomach, and you then hear how his heartbeat slows down, like, because the touch, the mere presence and touch of his friend calms him down. And then not only does Puss, I think this is the scene where he admits that death is after him, but he then also spills the beans that the reason him and Softpaws are at odds with each other is because that now that death is after him, that's not the first time in his life that he has been scared. Or I d- does he confess that death is after him? Or I know that he confesses that he's down to his last life. That much I remember. And then he tells him that he tells the dog that he left soft paws at the altar. You see Puss standing on this hill, full view of the church, and then he pusses out, and he fully admits to the dog that he was being a coward that day, and that now that he because at this point he has already started to reform, um, that he deeply regrets what he did that day. And then you have another wholesome reply from the dog, where he's like, well, why don't you just tell her that? It might make you feel better. And this is one of those classic scenes where you are thinking, like, right, the person they're talking about, who they don't want to hear it, is just nearby, right? And and yes, Softpaws just so happened to have caught up to them, so that she did hear it, so she knows how Puss truly feels. But she doesn't go like, "Ha, I told you so," or now you remember. She plays dumb, like she goes, even though she knows where they are, she goes by the tree and is like, Puss, there you are, like totally surprised. I just found you there. Um, but now that she knows, she's suddenly being more more lenient to him. And not much later, there is a scene where they climb up a tree, and Puss, he loses his grip. Soft grabs him right at the as he's about to fall, and she's like, this reminds me of another time where you took my hand. Which then, Puss, he knows what she is talking about, and so when she pulls him up, he takes the dog's advice and spills the beans to her, like, I was a coward that day. I'm truly sorry. I have regretted it ever since. And she totally forgives him. Even she even spills it that she wasn't at the altar either. And he's like, wait, you weren't at the altar either? What the heck? And I was also like, oh, that's so typical her. You can never count on her. But see, the thing is, her wish, what the reason why she wants the star, it's not riches or anything else like that. She she wants someone she can trust, because earlier in the movie, she is like, um you can never trust anyone. I learned that the hard way. There was once a person that I thought I could trust, but even he stabbed me in the back. Um, but when they stand on this branch, and they confess to each other, she doesn't stop there. She goes, no, I wasn't at the altar, because I knew that I was no. I don't remember her words exactly, but I was I couldn't compete with the legend that you are truly in love with. Like, she knew back then that his ego was gonna get in the way. But then she continues, like, then she continues. I couldn't compete with the legend that you are so in love with. But you know what? I don't see that man anymore. So, kind of the same thing that death says at the end. Um, but they then find the cabin, and steal the map from Goldie and the bears, not without a fight, of course. But then after the fight, they get separated. Like, I think, I think Soft Paws, she touches the map, so that the forest changes once again, and this big fissure opens up. Goldilocks and the bears on one side, and Puss and Soft on the other side, and Goldie and the bears also has the dog, a prisoner this time. And they are, we gotta go after him, we gotta save him. And then, I think by accident, Puss touches the map, so that the forest changes once again, and this time it traps him in the cave of lost souls. And I say trap because all of a sudden, a wall of impenetrable crystal separates the two, so that she can no longer touch the map in order to change it. So they are literally, they are split up. They are separated, and so he shows her the map through the crystal wall, and so that she can, because the map apparently works as a GPS, she can see where on the map Goldie and the bears are, so that she can go after them and rescue the dog. Um, Stuffy nose. Sorry, my cold is getting worse. Um, and so he says, I'm gonna go through this cave and catch up to you. Don't worry, just go after them. And so he goes through this cave, and cave of lost souls. So he comes to a room where these big crystal pillars, they shoot up from the ground, and each one of them, of course, represents one of his previous lives, with each one of them having this projection of one of his earlier lives, where they are like, hey Puss, how are you doing, want a drink? um, and and so he gets to talk with them, and we cut away to Goldilocks and the bears, where they are trying to build this bear trap around the dog. And um, they are talking about what they want to use the wish for. And the dog, again, this wholesome soul, he's like, you guys really are a fantastic family, because he of course he listens to everything how they talk to each other, and he looks at Goldilocks and is like, and remember I used this line as an example yesterday with where I said someone says, you really won the orphan lottery, which he says to Goldilocks, because they they talk over each other. So he learns that that she's an orphan, and he then goes like, from one orphan to another, you have a lovely family. You really won the orphan lottery there. And then before they can do anything, Soft comes and rescues him, and they spring their own trap, and haha, funny. But then we cut back to the cave where Puss is having a party with his previous lives. But then things kind of start taking a sour turn, where he is like, I don't have time for this. I gotta get moving. I have my friends are out there, and they are like, friends. What are you talking about? Dude, you have a wish to make. You have a legend to reestablish. And then they start mocking him that I hear he's friends with a dog now. Like, they start to really be condescending towards him, which makes him resent them even more. Like, guys, I'm starting to think that you are the real jerks around here. And then of course, Death shows up, and Death starts having like I talked about earlier. Death, he starts talking about all of these lives that he witnessed, like he witnessed every single death. Like he says, just as he shows Puss one of his sickles up close, where he has crossed out every single life that Puss has wasted. And then he recounts all of the lives, or he talks, he intimidates Puss as he slowly crushes every single one of the the crystals. Like, I'm here for you now, Puss. So why don't I just make this quick? But Puss escapes again. He is still absolutely terrified of this guy, and so runs away. He finds a way out of the cave. Soft and the dog, they see him up from a higher place, and they're like, Puss, we are over here. But he sees them, but he's so so far gone. Like, the meeting with Death again, and how he has talked about how he just intimidatedly talked about all of the previous lives that he bore witness to, has made Puss rethink what he actually wishes. Like, and right now again he's terrified again, hairs on end, and he just wants to find that to find that star. And of course you see the two are up on the hill, like, where's he going? But and he then finds the star, which is literally a crystal, a star-shaped crystal in the ground, and starts getting the wish ready. And Soft and the dog, they eventually catch up to him, and she is like, how foolish of me. I really thought I could trust you. And often you have this cliche where it is a cliche with, oh, I thought I could trust you, and then they go on a whole tangent about no, you gotta believe me, and no, I don't want to listen. But here she says, I thought I could trust you, but then Puss immediately goes like, no, no, it's not what you think. Death is after me. Say what now? Um, Not that she doesn't believe him, but she it you can see in her face that huh. And then of course the whole party shows up. Jack and Goldilocks and the bears, and you have this cool shot where you have Puss and his friends in the middle of the star, and then Goldilocks and Goldilocks and the bears and Jack, and they stand on each edge of the star, and hijinks ensues. Everyone fights over the map. um, a single cook of Jack's party that has survived up until now, she gets flung out of the star because um, the star floats up, and then this magic wall starts surrounding it, and if you touch this wall you get sucked out into whatever, and that happens to this cook. And then Jack, because he has this shotgun like staff that he can shoot magic with, he shoots Baby Bear after Baby Bear tries to intimidate him, like, I ain't afraid of you, fool, you fool. Um, but so Baby Bear gets shot out to the wall, and Mama Bear tries to rescue him, and Daddy Bear tries to rescue him, and they are just about to to let go. And while that is happening, Goldilocks has acquired the map. There is a scene earlier where that's after the dog gets rescued and they accidentally trap themselves. There is a scene where they talk about, well, what they want to wish for, and then Goldilocks in this scene finally spills that what she wishes for is a family. And I was sitting there like, because we had this wholesome scene in the illusion house, where we see the projection of young Goldilocks, and Mama Bear says, "You stole our hearts that day," and Goldilocks actually smiles, where she really cemented herself as a character that not that you rooted for her, because you're supposed to root for Puss, but at that moment, if anything, you realize that she's not a bad guy. Um, and so when they trek through the woods to catch up again and get the map back, and Goldilocks says, "I want a family," I was like, "But you already have a family," and you see this look of shock in the bears as well, because they think exactly the same that you as the audience think. And she then turns around and looks at them, and it's not like she's condescending, like, oh, you guys really thought that I thought of you as my family. No, she's like, more so, she's more like, oh, come on, you didn't actually think I was gonna stay, did you? I mean, I'm a human girl, and you guys are bears. So it's not like she's being condescending to them, like, really, you thought I thought of you as my family. But you get where she's coming from. Like, of course she would like to get to know her parents, also because when she finds that book I talked about in the cabin, she sees a picture of, or a sketch of her as a kid and her parents, and I think that's what sparked, or at least enhanced her desire to wish for her true family back. and again, you get where she's coming from. The girl is an orphan. She's a human girl among bears. Of course she would want to get to know her biologic family. And um, when I saw the look in the bear's eyes, when they heard that, like, she doesn't see us as family, I 100% thought that they would flip, or they would get really really angry, or something like that. But no, quite the contrary, actually. I don't remember what Father Bear said, because he was kind of sort of mumbling, but Mama Bear, she walks up to Goldilocks and is like, love, if that's what you really wish for, we are gonna help you with it. And because Baby Bear is like, you want to get rid of us, do you, huh? And again, Mama Bear just goes, if that if getting your true parents back is what would really make you happy, then we're gonna help you. And I was like, that's a true family right there. That's a true family. Um, and so flash forward to the showdown at the wishing star, where Goldilocks has acquired the map, and she is just about to get her wish fulfilled, because I think Jack is busy with something else. Then, just as Baby Bear and Mother Bear's paws are about to slip, uh, Goldie Bear, Goldilocks climbs up on top of both of them, Mama and Papa, and then uses her cane to hold Baby Bear back, and yank him out of the death zone. And by doing that, she of course forfeited her only chance to get her wish fulfilled, because then one of the others got a hold of it. I think Jack, but then it becomes Puss and his friends, soft paws and the dog, and Goldie and the bears. It becomes all of them against Jack. And he uses his entire arsenal against them. And but they eventually trick him into, or rather, I think it is soft paws. She tricks him into his own bottomless bag, where he's like, I really should have seen that one coming. Um, so now Jack is out of the way, but we have one unresolved plot point: death. Because then Death, of course, shows up again, and he wants a final showdown with Puss. So he uses his sickles to whip up a firewall that separates the two from everything else. Um, and he then throws Puss's um, his rapier to him, because back in the bar scene, after the fight where Puss got totally outnumbered by Death, he leaves his rapier behind, because he's so scared now that or back then he was so scared that he didn't even think to bring his rapier back. Death back then was like, pick it up. But Puss then runs away, and then we have, and that's another. I love it when movies do this, like take something in the beginning of the movie, and then bring it back, for the end, because then he shows up, like I said. he throws the rapier along the ground, and is like, pick it up. Again, a sign that he doesn't want to just kill Puss, because if he did, he could have just kept the thing and been like, "You're dead." So again, he shows that he's not out to just kill the cat. He wants to teach it a lesson, and Puss, he finally pusses up. Sorry, bad humor. He finally pushes up, and the two have a fight, and once again, because it is death, after all, you can't beat death. Death once again knocks the rapier out of Puss's paw, but then because early in the movie, Soft Paws, she she did Puss a favor and cut his beard with this little knife, and then she let him keep the knife. And that gets brought up again in this fight, because Death thinks that Puss is now unarmed, but Puss then pulls out this small knife and says something like, "Say hello to my little sword," or whatever, something like that. And he then uses this extra hidden ace to catch Death off guard, wrap around his sickle, and Death then does, he does this sweeping move where Puss then, as he holds on to the cane, because during the fight, are you ready for round two? Death has combined his sickles into one long double cane thing, and Puss then uses this roundhouse attack to collect his sword again, and this time he is the one with the boots on. He battles some more with Death, and then he finally manages to disarm Death, and then we have maybe what I think is the greatest scene in the entire movie, where Puss in Boots now he is the one who pushes Death's weapon over to him and says, "Pick it up." So again, history repeats itself, and Death picks it up, and then he goes over to, and I believe I already talked about this scene, but he picks up his weapon, goes over to Puss, all like serious and intimidating, and then he says that whole thing about "I came looking for a legend who thought he was immortal, but you are no longer him." And then he walks away, kind of defeated, but also not really, because I feel that his mission has been fulfilled. He was never out to kill Puss. He was out to scare the crap out of him, to make him realize that he's not immortal, and that he should cherish his lives, all 9 of them now, and only one now. And then, just as he is about to leave, he looks over his shoulder and goes like, you know we'll meet again someday, right? And Puss goes, "Yes." And then he walks into the fire and disappears completely. And then they get the map back, and they are kind of discussing who should get the wish. Soft Paws says that Puss, you can have the wish, because I already got mine, and the dog has already said that he doesn't want the wish. So she's like, get your lives back. But then Jack comes back because he had saved this magic cookie for later in his bag. So he comes out of the bag, and he's now this gigantic uh, monster, this giant. And then we have a callback to the fight against the wooden giant, or the stone giant, from the beginning of the movie, where Jack, he looks all intimidating, like, but then Puss and everyone, they outsmart him, and Puss, both Puss and Softy Paws this time, they do that, with the nail split, which somehow makes Jack shrink again. I may be misremembering. No, he stays big. That's right. He stays big, but now, of course, the whole issue becomes to make sure that he doesn't get his wish. And of course he's almost about to get it, but then the good guys, Goldilocks, the bears, the cats, they get a hold of the map, and in a twist I didn't see coming, right in the middle of the star, they pull the map so that it breaks. But even then, Jack isn't defeated, because he does everything in his powers to try to piece the map back together. But then there is a piece missing right in the middle, and he looks through this piece and sees the cricket, his conscience, who long ago gave up on him, like, oh my God, you're a bad guy. And so the cricket the cricket gets back, or returns, and you see him on the back of the phoenix, with the last piece in his hand. And then he holds the piece out so that the phoenix can torch it. And with that piece gone, the whole rest of the map burns as well. And with the map gone, apparently the whole star collapses under Jack, and makes him fall into this vortex of magic. And I think both in a reference to his own fairy tale, where he tastes pies with his thumb, but maybe also in a Terminator, in a reverse Terminator 2 reference, the Terminator who goes into the lava with his thumb up. That's the last thing we see of Jack, like him getting swallowed up by this liquid vortex and going like, and then bada bing bada boom, you see this sea of shooting stars, like go, like fireworks go. The star gets sent back up into the sky through all of these small shooting stars. Really very beautiful scene. And then everyone says their goodbyes. Goldilocks, who now of course has realized that she already has the family she always wanted. She looks she now looks at the dog before they leave, and say, you really won the orphan lottery. And so they leave, her and the bears. Puss and Soft Paws and Doggy, they stay behind, and they get to talk. They get to talk about, we never did name you. At one point, I actually thought that Puss was gonna use the wish to instead of wishing for lives, that he would wish for a name for the dog. But seen in looking back, that would be kind of silly, because why would you use a magic wish to name someone? That's kind of like in Dragon Ball, when the gang just use the Dragon Balls to ask Shenron for advice, or something like that, or in the superhero movie, where she literally uses the Eternal Dragon to make her ass and boobs bigger, and I was sitting there like, that's a movie I haven't done a review of. Maybe I will. The movie is still rather clear in my head, so I think I could do a review of it. It would be spoiler heavy to hell and back, because unlike this movie, uh, I can say right now I didn't like it, so I'm gonna thrash that movie to hell and back. But it's sort of clear. It's still sort of clear in my head, but maybe I should rewatch it in English this time, because I did. That movie did get a limited show in here in Denmark in Japanese with Danish subtitles. But story for another time. They sit there and are like, we never did name you, and so of course they think of a name for him, and you see, then we get to the after the climax, the wind down, where um, we are back in the town where it all started. um, Puss and the gang have hijacked a ship and are now off to new adventures. All three of them are. Him and I don't know if him and Softy are dating now, but all three are together again. And the dog, I know I still call him that, because I don't remember what they called him. It was I think it was not amigo, but they called him something that I think means friend in some kind of language. Correct me if I'm horribly wrong on that. But then he goes, where are we even going? And Puss goes, off to new adventures and to see some old friends. And then you see the camera pan, and you see that they are on their way back to far, far away land. And I was sitting there like, oh come on! I have sat through this whole movie being able to forget the fact that Puss in Boots, that this particular character, Puss in Boots, is a side character from the Shrek movies that I don't like, or the character Shrek that I don't like. So that final shot of far, far away, I was like, oh right, there's gonna come more Shrek, isn't there? But aside from that, great ending. Um, I'm sure I could, especially if my brother was right here, right now, because like I said, we spent the entire train ride home yesterday just talking about all the details, and the symbolism of it all. So I'm sure if he was here, he would be like, oh, and then there was this scene, and then there was that scene. What I have done right now is that I have, if you look at the time, I have almost talked for as long as the movie's actual actual runtime, where I have went through the movie from start to finish, and as I went scene from scene, I I dug into not maybe not all of the scenes that I loved, or all of the details that I loved, or all the symbolism that I loved, but as I went through the movie, I I discussed all of the scenes and details that I still clearly remembered, and then kind of put it all together, so that I was both talking about the movie and all the things I loved about it. Um, So yeah, that's Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, a movie that, again, I say that with the deepest contempt towards the franchise from which it has spawned, the Shrek movies, and the fact that I haven't watched the first Puss in Boots. Why do I say Puss in Boots? I haven't watched the first Puss in Boots movie. I do it all the time. Boots. I haven't watched the series. This is the only Puss in Boots Shrek thing that I have watched, and it is way better than it has any rights to whatsoever. Like, now that I have gone through it, I'm gonna repeat myself from yesterday, that plot is great, every single line is great, the line deliveries are great, the character of the wolf, Death, is he's amazing in every single scene that he's in. He's a total showstopper. I was about to say he steals the entire show in every scene he's in, because he is so calm and intimidating, and yet he's not this I'm going to kill you now. Like, he there's this thing about him where you get the feeling that he is wise beyond he is wise beyond words, um in the way he talks, and yeah, the just the way he is as a character, and Goldilocks and her wholesome relationship towards her family. Like, when you are first introduced to her, you get the feeling that she's just a maniacal, mindless bounty hunter with her three pet bears. But then you learn that they're actually a family. They talk like a family. They behave like a family. They behave like a crazy fairy tale family. Not crazy as in Resident Evil 7 crazy, but they um they are lovable in their own way. And I just loved how everything in this movie had the ending to it, that everything had the ending that you were hoping for, that you were expecting, or that you wanted. I wasn't left When the credits rolled, I wasn't left with a single plot thread where I was like, huh, they didn't resolve that. Because trust me, I experienced that way too often, where I sit at the end, and I'm like, wait, they forgot something. And that drives me nuts. Like I said the other day, nothing good, a good or bad movie regardless, nothing irks me more than unresolved plot threads. And at least, okay, I have only seen the movie that one time, but from that one showing, to me at least, nothing was left behind. Every single detail had a purpose. Every single plot thread was resolved. Everything went full circle in genius ways. The plot twist at the end, where the map gets ripped apart and burned, was great. Legit I legit didn't see that one coming. And like I said at the beginning of the movie, because I put two and two together, um, the first time we even see Death and Puss together, the fact, because I realized from the get go who he was, that made the movie even better to me personally, because I was like, Puss, you are you are oh boy, you got your work cut out for you. and like because Death, he openly shows that he also says several times that I'm gonna enjoy this hunt. Flee, Puss. That's gonna make it all the more fun for me. Um. So yeah, everything was neatly tied up, and again a funny instance where knowing the one of the twists, because again I didn't see everything coming. I'm not the type of person who the annoying person you see a movie with, and he sits like it's the butler who did it, right? Like I don't sit there and try to get ahead of the movie. Like I watch the movie and live in the now. I watch it, and then the information I get from the movie I of course process, but it's not like I try to beat the movie to the punch. For example, spoiler alert for Wreck-It Ralph. I didn't get. I didn't. The plot twist where King Candy turns out to be Turbo in disguise. I didn't see that one coming at all. Spoiler alert for Detective Pikachu. I didn't see the kid's father, Ryan Reynolds. I don't remember his character's name. I didn't see his soul being inside Pikachu the whole time. I didn't see that one coming either. And that's because again, I don't think ahead on purpose. At least I don't try to beat a movie to the punch, because what would be the fun in that? I want to be surprised. Also because plot twists are meant to give you this wow feeling, like wow, I did not see that one coming. Whereas there are many people, not to criticize or anything, but there are people who they see the twist coming from a mile away, and then some are better at shutting up about it than others. Some they just can't help themselves, thinking ahead again with the information they have already been given. Like, if he is this person, then that must mean that, and then they piece it all together long before the movie even gets there. Um, but this is, like I have already said, this is a rare case where having having realized one of the plot twists, the wolf being death incarnate, made the movie even more enjoyable for me, and where everything else just made the movie even better for me. All the twists that I didn't see coming was the cherry on the Sunday. And again, I love that this, because when I say that this movie is better than it has any right to, I talked the other day also about how I think that all kids movies should be like this. Not like this, but all kids movies should show this amount of effort in both animation, story, how every single detail has a purpose. I know that Disney is very good at that, but there are other animation studios besides Disney who don't put that much effort into kids movies because they are just kids movies. But this is a shining example of a cartoon. A cartoon. I'm not even gonna say a kids movie, but a cartoon that takes its audience serious. Um, it has a mature coming of age story that both adults and at least older kids can follow. It has humor that the kids will get, and where adults. I mean, I'm an adult, and I laughed. So it has a perfect blend of all of it, and I'm like, is it so much to ask for all kids movies to be like this, to be this you know, this well put together, where you can see the effort, where you can see that someone was sitting at the drawing board and was like, you know, I want I want the kids of the world to have this quality product. Is that so much to ask? Um, but yeah, like I also capped off with last time. Great movie. I can't find any single problem I had with it at all. And now I have for over 1.5 hours I have went into great details about why exactly that is. I was more or less tripping over myself right before hitting play on the camera, because I was like, I want to talk it, I want to talk about it, I want to talk about it, I want to talk about why this movie was so great. Again, the other day, I managed to talk for 40 minutes about nothing, essentially. Kept dangling the carrot in front of in front of you, and then I was just like, bye. Um, I gushed for 40 minutes about why I thought it was great, and now I have went into great details for 1.5 hour about why. So, with that said, again, if the movie if the movie still runs near you, by all means go watch it. If not, buy it on Blu-ray or DVD. Just watch it however you can. And speaking of, I mean, thank you so much for watching this far. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. I know that 1.5 hours. I mean, I didn't plan to talk for this long. Like I have said in many other videos, I just talk and talk and talk and talk my ass off, hoping that I don't stay silent for that I don't lose my train of thought for too many seconds at a time. I just talk. And I didn't plan for this video to be that long. I find it again. I find it very humorous that I managed to talk for almost the same duration as the movie itself. But regardless, if you have endured all of that, if you have endured all of me, then thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to. I'm not gonna force you. Um, by all means, leave a comment if you have watched the movie and you have anything whatsoever to add to the things I have talked about. Then by all means do so. If you agree, if you don't agree, if you thought the whole movie was corny as hell, and you had seen it all before, and all of the scenes I described where I was like, oh, that's so wholesome, maybe you will like, ugh. Yeah, whatever, man. Share your comment, share your comments, share your thoughts in the comments below, and until next time, see ya.